spectacular.
is coming up.
Yeah, should be bigger.
All right, joining us now on our Newsmaker hotline is the mother of that Marine being held in Mexico, Jill Tahmarressi. Good morning, Jill. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning.
Again, most of the media has been ignoring this except for talk radio, and Greta's done a fabulous job, Greta Van Susteren on Fox News Channel and detailing the story. What is the latest with your son, Sergeant Andrew Tahmarressi, who is, again, currently being held in prison in Mexico?
Well, unfortunately, 94 days later, there isn't going to be, in my opinion, a diplomatic resolution. He merely made a wrong turn and ended up where he didn't want to be. So he is going through the judicial system in Mexico. He has a court hearing July 9th. So that will be the beginning of what may be many court hearings. So he is in El Hongo Penitentiary for up to a 21-year sentence.
Has anybody within the administration, either the president or someone higher up at the State Department, spoken to you about this or have talked with you about what's going on with Andrew?
No, and that's why we did the formal request to the We the People, whitehouse.gov petition, We the People, and that we met the threshold for 100,000 signatures May 30th, which requires a White House response, but there's been silence to date. So I'm only assuming that perhaps Sergeant Tahmarressi, my son, is not on their radar. So I have not heard from them, and we are watching that whitehouse.gov petition site every day for a response because they are obligated to respond at the 100,000 signature threshold.
Now, I lived in San Diego back in the late 70s, and it was a lot simpler to get around then. But that area where Andrew was in, he was caught in the far right lane. There were Jersey walls blocking him, and it was tough for him. There was only that one little area where he could pull a U-turn before going into Mexico. He was sort of kind of forced into going into Mexico.
And also on that evening, March 31st, there was no U-turn sign that was visible. It was sitting on the floor alongside a barrier. If a car was next to it, it would be obscured. There's now, Andrew has gotten bloody and bruisey through this whole ordeal. However, there is now a legitimate sign that's visible to all traffic that indicates where you can U-turn. But that night on March 31st, there was absolutely no legitimate signage, and the custom agent Mexico would not allow him to turn around.
Do you speak to Andrew on a daily basis, or how often are you allowed?
Yes, that is one privilege. He hasn't seen sunlight in 94 days or, television, radio, but he is able to make a collect phone call every night. So I'm able to give him all the progress, at least with the representatives, the HR 620, the Andrew freedomfund.com, where you can hear his whole story. So I give him updates every night about at least how the American public is rallying for his freedom.
We're speaking with Jill Tahmarressi, the mother of the Marine currently be held in a Mexican prison. I know there was some controversy that one of his attorneys, I believe his first attorney, wanted him to basically lie in court.
His first attorney scripted a non-truth in the disclosure statement, and there was not an interpreter present. And the attorney explained to me when Andrew called and said, "Mom, where did you get this attorney?" He called me and said, "Jill, this is how you do it in Mexico. You got to make it short and simple. You have to eliminate all suspicion." I said, "Well, why is it suspicious that he went to Tijuana?" I said, "All of his Marine brothers go into Tijuana. There's a tourist area there." But no, the first attorney felt it was necessary to script a mistruth to the court. So that's why we're starting all over. We're on to attorney number 3, and his first legitimate hearing of the truth will be July 9th.
We'll keep our fingers crossed and thoughts and prayers. The other thing I wanted to mention here this morning, Jill, is that last week there was a story of a Mexican helicopter that crossed into U.S. airspace and fired on U.S. Border Patrol agents. Periodically, Mexican military and Mexican officials get caught across our border, and we routinely send them back to Mexico. We don't put them in jail. Wouldn't this have been a great opportunity for the president or somebody to pick up the phone and talk with the Mexican president over Andrew's plight?
Absolutely. We certainly offer a lot of forgiveness and mercy when they have excursions, accidental excursions across our border. And that 911 call Andrew made, he clearly was not even sure if he was in Mexico yet. And I'm not. I think he had one foot on each side. So it's very unfortunate that they didn't hold him for just a few hours, a few days even, get it all cleared up. He's a decorated Marine, meritoriously supportive, I would say. It's not been the same equivalency with the executive branch.
All right. Well, Jill, again, we'll keep Andrew in our thoughts and prayers. And anything else our listeners can do to help you out? Is there a website they can go?
Follow his story on the go to andrewfreedomfund.com to see his whole story. And if there's anything you can do to support, the family would much appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again, and keep the faith.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's Jill Tahmarressi, who is the mother of the Marine being held in Mexican prison. AndrewFreedomFund.com is the website. 8:30, time for traffic and weather. First